Hello, everyone. Welcome to our office hour number 50. So my name is Namita Mishra, and I'm the Senior Principal Product Success Manager here at SPM ServiceNow. Today with me, I have Nitin Verma, the Product Manager who owns this area. And before I hand it over to Nitin to start sharing the capabilities around the Alignment Planner Workspace integration with ADO, let me make sure that you all know the drill. The format is very simple. The first half of the session will be covered by Nitin, who is the subject matter expert in this area. Walk us through the functionality, and then the rest of the time is completely open for you as customers. You can ask any question you have on the topic. If there is any question that pops up during the session, put it in the chat and Nitin will cover it later. Those who will listen this recording in the YouTube later, please make sure that if you have any questions, you can also put them in the YouTube chat. And we will answer them as and when we see the questions. And now, Nitin, the stage is all yours. Please unmute yourself.
Thanks, Namita. And hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Let me just share my screen. I'll share the deck that we compiled to provide a brief overview of Alignment Planner Workspace integration with Azure DevOps. I'm going full screen now. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, Nitin.
Okay. Sure, thanks, man. So I'll provide a brief introduction of this feature, what it does, and then I'll also provide the steps to configure this integration, and I'll talk about what you get once the configuration is done, how a user can export an epic from APW to ADO, and also how a user can import an epic from ADO to APW. And then we'll also look at what are some of the key enhancements that we'll be releasing soon in May as part of our May release. So the application that I'm going to talk about, this was released as part of San Diego in the month of Feb, and then we are coming up with the next enhancement in the month of May. So as usual, safe harbor, because we are going to cover some of the information that is not released yet. It will be released in the month of May. So before I go to integrations, a very quick introduction of Alignment Planner Workspace. So this is a single actionable workspace that gives our customers a platform to create the strategy and then align that strategy to execution in order to deliver their goals with 100% confidence. So we have things like goal framework, we have things like roadmaps, and then we have things like dependencies. So Alignment Planner Workspace really gives you the ability to create your targets and then align your organizational resources to meet those targets, and then track the targets and the progress within the Alignment Planner Workspace. So one of the things with Alignment Planner Workspace is that it takes care of the strategy and alignment part, but it also gives you a flexibility where you can execute in a system of your choice. So your teams can continue working in Azure DevOps if you use those, or Jira if you use it, or ServiceNow applications such as ServiceNow PPM or ServiceNow Agile if you're comfortable with those. So to install this integration, you need to go to the store, and then you can look for this plugin. It's called Alignment Planner Workspace Integration with Azure DevOps. We have released version 1.0.0 in the month of Feb, so that's the latest. In the month of May, we are releasing the next version, that is version 1.1.0. So a very high level architecture, or you can say the 30,000 feet view of this integration looks something like this. So you have Alignment Planner Workspace where you have planning hierarchies and planning organizations, and within planning hierarchies and planning organizations, you can have planning items. And as you might already know, all those things are highly configurable as per your organization's needs. So in this example, you can see I have created an enterprise planning hierarchy in which I can have goals and then initiatives, and then I can have a portfolio planning organization where I can have epics. So I can create my goals, I can create my initiatives, I can have my governance tracking within Alignment Planner Workspace, but my teams execute in Azure DevOps. So using this integration, personas like portfolio managers or product managers, they can create epics in Alignment Planner Workspace. They can put those under their roadmaps. And whenever they think that these epics are ready for execution, they can export those epics to ADO. So they can go into the details of those epics. They can select the execution system as Azure DevOps, and then they can define ADO project for this epic and select an area. And then when they will save this epic, it will be exported to the respective project and area in Azure DevOps. Similarly, if they want to import an epic into a planning organization and then later put that epic onto their roadmap, they can easily click on import button, and then they can enter the epic ID, and then once they click on import, the epic will be imported to Alignment Planner Workspace. Please also note that once they perform export and import operation, then these epics get linked, which means that any change that you make in APW, that will be reflected in ADO and vice versa, depending on the table map that you use. So as part of this integration, we are providing the out-of-the-box table map for epic table with certain out-of-the-box field maps. If you have any further requirement of adding more fields or edit the existing fields, you have all the liberty to do so. So depending on your table maps and field maps, the fields in those epics will talk to each other and will get set. So moving on, we'll first cover the steps, and we'll also go through a demo. So we have divided the whole configuration into 3 steps for the admins. So step number 1 is about creating the Azure DevOps instance in APW. This is absolutely similar to the step that you have to do to create Agile ADO integration. So as you have to do in Agile, you have to create the ADO instance in Alignment Planner Workspace, and then create your connections, your credentials, and then connect to this instance. Once that is done, then you can move to configuration step 2, where you can add the instance that you created to a planning hierarchy in Alignment Planner Workspace. So as part of this step, the system would automatically create the epic table map between this planning hierarchy and the respective ADO processes. And then it will also create the default field maps. If you want, you can edit those field maps or add new field maps. And step 3 is basically about adding Azure DevOps projects to Alignment Planner Workspace planning organizations. So this step gives you some kind of access control through which you can expose only certain projects to planning organizations in APW, so that users using those planning organizations can export and import only from the ADO projects that are available to those planning organizations. Once these steps are completed, the Alignment Planner Workspace users, such as portfolio managers or product managers, they can now export an epic from those planning organizations to ADO, or they can import an epic from ADO to those planning organizations. Any questions so far? Okay, moving on. So we'll cover configuration step 1. In fact, let me do this side by side in my demo instance. Just give me a second. So this is my instance. We'll do back and forth between the presentation and the demo. I'd like to cover those side by side. So I'm already logged in. So configuration step 1 is really about creating the ADO instance. And to create an ADO instance, you need to search for Alignment Planner. And then within Alignment Planner, you'll see Azure DevOps instance. And within that, you'll see this option of create and manage instances. So once you click on that, it will open up a screen where you can enter the name of your instance, and then you have to set up connection areas. We'll not go into the details of setting up the connection areas and then setting up your credentials and everything. I'm assuming that you're already aware of it. This is not changing. It's same as it is for Agile ADO integrations. So if I show you my instance, I look for Alignment Planner Workspace, and then I'll go to create and manage instance. So in here, I already created an instance for my ADO organization. So this is my ADO URL. I'll show you what all I configure. So I created this connection alias, and I created the connection and the credentials for this, and that's how I was able to connect to it successfully. So these steps are well documented. You can refer our documentation to add an instance to Alignment Planner Workspace and then connect to it. So this instance is already connected, and that's why you see disconnect option here. And then once you connect your instance, optionally you can discover the projects. And then if you click on discover project, the system will fetch all the ADO projects that are available in the ADO instance that you just created. So this step is optional. As part of the next step, system automatically does this implicitly. So that's step number 1, where you just go ahead and create your ADO instance and connect to it. And then we'll perform step number 2. So step number 2 is about adding the ADO instance that you just created to a planning hierarchy. So to do that, you have to go to this option called planning hierarchy with integration. And before doing this, you need to make sure that you created your planning hierarchy and you created your planning organization. Once that is done, then you can add your instance to this planning hierarchy. You can create the alignment integration of type Azure DevOps, and then you can add the instance that you created in first step to this planning hierarchy. And once you do that, system would system will import all the ADO projects and ADO processes, and then it would create the epic table mapping for all these processes within this planning hierarchy. So let's do that. We'll perform that step live. So I'll go to planning hierarchies with integrations. And for this demo purpose, I'll use this planning hierarchy that I created, hybrid APW ADO integration demo. I'll show you how it looks like. So when I created this planning hierarchy, I used the hybrid template, and it created this organization for me as it created the enterprise planning org, and then it created the portfolio planning orgs for demand, project, and Epic. So for this demo, we'll just use Epic. We'll create Epic and we'll export that, and we'll import an Epic from ADO. So we'll go to alignment integration. So you see two options here. So we have both these plugins available. So if you are using ServiceNow PPM and ServiceNow Agile for your execution, you can create ServiceNow internal integration. This is just one-click integration. You click it, and the system would create it automatically based on the template. So if I can show you what kind of table maps it would create for you by default. So these tables you will get out of the box. A table map for portfolio, a table map for Epic, project, and demand. So if you want to sync Epic, project, or demand from APW to ServiceNow internal system, so you can simply use ServiceNow internal integration, and you can create it by clicking this link. For this demo, we would create an integration for Azure DevOps. So I'll click on this. It will create an integration of type Azure DevOps. Then I will click on New. And in here, I would add the instance that I created in step 1. So locate the instance. And if it's in the connected state, you'll see connected here, and then I'll submit. So once you submit, in the background, system is fetching the projects and processes from Azure DevOps. And then in the background, it's creating the mapping for Epic table for all the processes that it would import from Azure DevOps. So if I show you, you see all the projects here that are present in my instance. And then if I go inside any of those projects, I see the Epic table map. So by default, system does this out of the box for Epic table, and then you can see some of the field maps that are created automatically. So if you have a requirement, you can create new field maps, or you can edit any one of these. So that's step number 2. We'll move to step number 3. Sorry. So as part of step 3, you can add your ADO projects to certain planning organizations. So we'll select one of the planning organization in the demo, and then we'll go inside it, and then we'll add ADO projects. So I'll show you how you can do it. And then once that is done, you'll be done with the configuration for APW ADO integration. So we'll again go back to our planning hierarchy with integrations screen. I'll select my planning hierarchy to which I added the ADO integration. And then I would go to planning organization. For our example, I created 2 planning orgs, planning org A and planning org B. Let's say I want to add projects to planning org A. So I'll go inside planning org A, and then I'll click edit. And then I will see all the projects from my ADO instance. And then I can select, let's say, 2 of these, and then I can save it. So what I'm doing here is that I'm essentially exposing those 2 ADO projects to this planning hierarchy so that my users in this planning hierarchy can export or import epics to or from these 2 projects. So that's it. So those were the steps for APW ADO integration configuration. So if I go back to my planning hierarchies again, so my integration setup is done. So I have Azure DevOps integration configured. This instance is added and connected. And then I have my planning organization. And within this planning organization, I have added these 2 ADO projects. So my admin work is done now. I can now go to Alignment Planner Workspace. So once the configuration part is done, then a user in Alignment Planner Workspace can export an epic to ADO from APW or import an epic from ADO to APW, and we'll see that in the demo. So to export an epic, you have to go to Alignment Planner Workspace and then select your planning organization, and then you can create an epic or edit an existing epic. And then you have to select the execution system as Azure DevOps for that epic. And then you can select an ADO project and the area. And then once you submit, your epic would be exported to ADO. And upon successful export, you'll see the ADO link in the epic page itself. And after that, any changes that you'll make to this epic in either of the systems, those changes will be synced as per the table maps. Similarly, for an import, within your planning organization, on the roadmap page, you can click on the import work item button and then select Azure DevOps. A model will open, something like this, and then you can select your project. You can enter the epic ID, and once you click on import, the epic would be imported and it will start appearing in the unscheduled items list. You can drag and drop it to your roadmap, or you can set up the dates, the approved dates manually, and then it will start appearing on your roadmap. So in this release, a user can import only one epic at a time, but in the main release, we are providing a full-fledged selective bulk import model where they can select the ADO project and then they can put certain filters, and then all the epics matching those filters will be fetched, and then the user can select one, more, or all the epics, and then all those epics would be imported in one go. So that solution is coming in the month of May. So we'll go back to our demo. So I am in Alignment Planner Workspace, and let's say I would create a new epic. So let me name it. And then submit it. So if I don't provide the approved date, the item will appear in the unscheduled items. I can drag and drop this. So let's say I just created this item here, and I would like to export this item to ADO. So I need to go to full details. And then it will open the detail page for this epic. Now in here, I need to select the execution system. So whenever this epic is ready for execution, I can change the state, or I can enter the other fields, and then I can select the execution system as Azure DevOps. So I have both the options here because I created both the integration. So as a user, I can send this epic to ServiceNow internal, ServiceNow Agile module, or I can send it to Azure DevOps. So let's say I want to export this to ADO. And then I'll see this new section appearing here. So in here, I need to tell the system to which project I would like this epic be exported to. So remember the two projects that I added to this PO. So those will appear when a person is trying to export this epic to ADO. So I can select one of those projects, and then system will fetch the default area. I can change this area to other areas as well if I want. But by default, system will select the root area of this project, and then I can save it. So once I save, in the background, system will try to export this epic to ADO. And then once the epic is exported successfully, the external URL will be populated and will start appearing on the screen. So I'm just refreshing this. At the bottom, you see the external URL has appeared, which means that the epic is exported. So I can click on this URL and I can directly open this epic in ADO. I can go back here and see this epic was exported successfully. And then I can make changes in each of the system. Let's say I want this to be of higher priority, and then I would like to put some dates here. Let's say I would like to put the date as today's date as start date. I'd like to save it. So in the epic on ServiceNow side, you'll see all those changes appearing here. You see the start date that came from ADO is appearing here, and the priority got changed. And similarly, if you make any changes in ServiceNow side, let's say I'm adding a description here in ServiceNow, and I save those. The change will start appearing in ADO. See, there's a description that I added. So once an epic is exported, then all the fields as per your table map will sync almost on the real-time basis. Let's perform one import now. So again, I'm on the roadmap page of my planning org. Now I would like to import an epic from Azure DevOps. So let's say this is my project, and these are my epics. And this is one epic that I created in Azure DevOps. Its ID is 14. I would like to import this epic to my roadmap. So for that, I need to select the project. Again, the two projects that I added, that my admin added to this PO will appear here. I can select one of those, and then I want to import epic number 14. So enter 14, and then I'll click on it. The system will also show me the request for the import. I can click on it, and I can see what is happening. Sorry about this. Somehow I missed that clicking of that link. But I can refresh this page. And when the import is successful, that item will start appearing in my unscheduled item list. So this epic I imported, and then I can drag and drop this epic on my roadmap. And the same thing, if I make any changes in this epic, in one of the system, it will those changes will start appearing in the other system. So let's say I'm adding this description, I'm changing the priority to 3, and then I would update that. The same changes will start appearing here. So I added the description in the other system. It got synced, and the priority got changed. So that's kind of it for the demo. We successfully exported an epic, and we successfully imported an epic, and we also saw that any changes after a successful export or import will be synced seamlessly between these two systems, and that's how you can keep these two systems in sync almost on the real-time basis. Any questions? Hope you guys are still with me.
Great demo, Nitin. I mean, I learned so much today from this video. I don't see any questions in the chat, but please unmute yourself, and this is your turn to ask questions if you have one. Nitin, looks like there is no question. It was very clear and wonderful demo. So
Thanks a lot,
would you
Namita.
share something which is coming up, kind of the future plans?
Yeah, absolutely. So if there are no further questions on the Feb release, the version 1, we can move to what's coming up in May. Oops. So, as I said, a user can only import one epic at a time in the Feb release, but in May, they will have an ability to import multiple epics from ADO to APW in one go. So we're coming up with a model like this, and this is a real screenshot from a system that is under development. It will be available in May. So as a user, you'll have the ability to select a project, again, as per the projects available to your planning organization. And then you can provide certain filters, such as you can provide a range of the date created. You can provide multiple work item IDs, separating those by comma, or you can just enter some kind of keyword within the title, or you can provide the filter on the basis of state or priority. If you don't provide any filters, then system will fetch all the epics from this project. And once you enter those filters and click on search, system will fetch the matching epics, and it will show you in a tabular format. Now you can select one, more, or all the epics, and then import all these with just one single click. What we are also providing is that once you place an import request, system will show you a notification in the notification panel. And then once that import is successful, because it's a background job, non-synchronous, so it may take some time, sometimes 2 seconds, sometimes 5 seconds, sometimes 20 seconds, depending on how many epics you're importing. Once the import operation is successful, you'll get a notification in the notification center that this operation is completed with the status, and then you can find those epics on your roadmap. So we are also changing the placement of those epics. We are introducing a roadmap page where you can. We are introducing a backlog page where you can create new items and you can import items from external systems. And from there, you can prioritize and make those items appear on your roadmap. So this selective bulk import functionality is coming up in May. Apart from that, we are coming up with quite a few other enhancements. So we are also opening up our integration for custom table maps. As I said, by default, out of the box, you get Epic table map. But if you have a requirement to sync, custom tables or any other work item, you can go ahead and create your custom table map. A typical common use case can be that you would like to have a custom table called feature on APW side, and then you have features available on ADO side. Then you can create that custom table as feature in APW, and then you can create a custom table map for mapping the feature on APW side to the feature on ADO side. And then, as you saw, the syncing for Epic, you can do the same for features. As part of May release, you'll also be able to sync the attachments. That was not supported. We did support syncing of comments, but attachment is coming up in May. And also, it's very important for APW to have the latest set of projects and areas from ADO. So we are making it really simple with one single click. That button is called Refresh Instances. You can fetch all the new projects and areas from ADO. You can further set up scheduled jobs to regularly probe ADO and keep the list of projects and areas up to date on APW side. We are also introducing a new field type called Boolean. Previously, you had to create a field map and then add choices. Now we are making it really simple. If you just want to map a Boolean type field on APW side to Boolean type field on ADO side, we are supporting Boolean type field maps. And then we went through the guide setup steps, right? So to keep it really simple and much more prescriptive for our admins, we are coming up with a guided setup for setting up the integration one by one, and we are also embedding the videos to make it really simple for admin to understand the steps, and following those, they can easily create the integration between ADO, Alignment Planner Workspace and ADO. So my bad, this is actually May. I missed adding it. We'll fix that. Some of the important links. So we have full-fledged documentation already available in our docs.servicenow portal. And then we also created a troubleshooting page where you can look for various questions, the practices to follow, and then how you can optimize this integration. So this full page is dedicated to those topics. And then if you have any new ideas around this integration, if you have, any sort of enhancement request or any new ideas, you can always go to our community portal, and then under ideas, you can select Alignment Planner Workspace, and under that, you can select integrations and all your ideas there, and we'll love to look at this. So that's it from my side. I covered all the things that I wanted to cover. Thanks everyone for being patient, and hope this was useful for you.
Thank you so much, Nitin, for covering the upcoming capabilities of this integration. So last call, if there is any question for Nitin, any feedback, any comment that you would like to share with us today on this call.
Thank you very much. It was very informative.
Sure.
Thanks, Pam.
Okay, Nitin. I think there is no more question, and we can give back some time to attendees. It's Friday, so happy weekend, everyone. And anytime you have any more questions for us, feel free to drop a note and we will get back to you. Thank you. Thank you, Nitin.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Take care. Happy weekend.
Thank you, Nitin. Bye.